Alright, it is time, folks. Time to get back to it. I'm just now leaving the AMC here in Mobile, Alabama. Didn't even check the time. I'll supply all that info whenever I get home and get into the more professional look of things. But for now, let's just get home. It's a beautiful Sunday. Just walking out of the theater into the sunlight, and saw a couple of flicks. Gonna get the reviews done and up and at 'em. Get them both done and hopefully uploaded before tonight. Truck driving over the road recommences tomorrow, so got to get it done before then, or I might not ever get to it. I'm already backlogged with a couple dozen movies that I've watched, and I really want to put reviews of it up for the channel. But first things first, let's focus on one of them. I saw King of Kings and Until Dawn. Yeah, what a combination. I want to talk about Until Dawn here to start things off. I hadn't played the game, the PlayStation game, and I'm pleased that things are advanced or progressed, however you want to say it, to the point where they have their own opening little montage or theme. It looks like mostly scary games, but the PlayStation characters for PlayStation games, kind of like the Marvel cinematic. Whenever it opens up a Marvel movie, you get that few seconds of a little opening theme before the music starts to say, hey, this is the Marvel brand. Well, here, this is the PlayStation Studios brand. Like I said, I didn't play the game because I didn't have a PlayStation. I didn't even know about it until I saw the trailer for this movie. And the thing that sold me on the trailer was just the eerie style of it. I thought, that is neat. That looks unique. I don't watch every single horror movie that comes out, not by a long shot. But I've been giving a few of them a chance there just because they hooked me somehow. And when I saw in the trailer the way they were running backwards, that's nowhere in the movie. That was just a neat little effect they used to do the trailer, with them running backwards and selling the theme of the time loop of being stuck inside of a repeating cycle that you can't escape. This movie is basically like The Edge of Tomorrow, but a horror movie. These characters are stuck. These five young folks, not teeny boppers, but I guess like maybe college age people, at least that's what they look like to me, stuck in this haunted house situation. And well, I'll really get into it when I get home, but I just want to preface it all with a quick intro. That's what this is, and just say that I enjoyed it. And spoiler alert, I like the ending. I like that. I like the ending, and I'll get into the details. I don't want to just say it all right now; it might kind of ruin the review. But I'll tell you all about it. Again, spoiler alert. I always put that at the start of these videos. And I'm back home, folks. Good to be home. But since I'm doing multiple reviews tonight, 2 different movies, and I like to, you know me, I like to spend a little time on it. I think what I'll do for this one is switch over to an audio version for later and record my thoughts about Until Dawn. I caught the, what was it, the 4:40 p.m. showing, AMC, Mobile, Alabama. And it cost $13.49 to get in there. There's the ticket. There's the ticket right there. Again, this is May 4th, 2025. I got to give those details for the journal. Now let me take a few and switch over to the audio version for later. Alright, folks. I'm now back to resume this review.
It is now 11:58 p.m. on the 6th of May, a couple of days after I saw the movie, unfortunately. Being exhausted from work and having stuff to do got in the way of me going right into the review when I wanted to Sunday evening. Just couldn't get to it, but I'm going to use this little bit of peace and quiet I have, hopefully the fan isn't too loud, to go ahead and get my thoughts out about this movie that I saw. Again, I saw Until Dawn at the AMC in Mobile on Sunday, and I enjoyed the flick, first and foremost. And looking over IMDb, I got my phone in my hand right now as I record this, and I was just hoping that this Odessa A'zion, I hope I'm saying her name right, I'm probably not. I was thinking I saw her in something else before this, sometime, maybe some movie, but no, she just looks a little familiar somehow, and I thought for sure if I'd looked her up on IMDb that maybe it would show some movie that I had seen her in, but no, there's nothing, and I've given up looking on these people because I've just never seen any of them. Also, Michael Cimino, or Cimino, I think it's Cimino, who played Max. He also has a face of somebody I think I've seen before, that kind of familiar looking young star face. But yeah, I haven't seen any of these people in anything before, except of course for Peter Stormare as Hill. This man, he's like I was gonna say something. He's like the gift that keeps he won't stop. He's in everything. You know what? I didn't even look at him. His IMDb is 71 now, born August 27, 1953. Goodness gracious. You've seen him in so many movies, and for him to pop up in so many little roles like this, like in horror movies and stuff, and I never forget him in the movies that I've seen him in. Haven't seen him in a lot of things, but the way he just kind of pops up, you know, and he just... I was driving along yesterday thinking about this, and thinking about what I might want to say to make my review of this film, Until Dawn, and I started thinking about him and his role as Hill in this movie, and for whatever reason, I just started to think that, you know what, this man is going to be remembered and appreciated, well, hopefully now, these days, but also as the years drag on and as time marches on, he's going to be one of those actors, I think, who is just fondly remembered for the particular roles that he plays, like Hill in this movie. How he's prolific. I'm scrolling and scrolling here. These are his actor credits. So many movies. What's the total number up here as of today? Let me get up here. 211. Oh my goodness. Well, good on him. It's just, oh snap, you've seen the commercial. I forget what it's for. I just remember that he's in it. Peter Stormare as Hill. When he showed up, I thought, oh my goodness, this guy, he's everywhere, and he's very good in roles like this. Again, I haven't played the video game, and because I didn't have a PlayStation, but I've heard it's mainly prompts. Again, I'm just going on secondhand information here. Like, you do one thing to say which way you want the story to go, and you have to survive until dawn. Apparently, a lot of people like the game. Again, if I had a PlayStation, maybe I could give it a chance one day, if I can ever find time to do things like that. But yeah, all I'm going to go on is not the game, but the movie that I saw, and they say the movie took some liberties, but just as a movie, I enjoyed this one, because for what I could see that they've done different, at least from movies that I've seen, was I had this thought in my head yesterday, and I wanted to express it. I'm probably going to get it wrong now. You know what? Let me just start from the beginning. I had a complaint about this movie, similar to the other film that I saw Sunday. If you're watching my other recent uploads, the audio and the way in this theater, maybe it just wasn't one of the premier theaters or something. I don't know. I can't explain it. It didn't last the whole film, but maybe it really was the movie. The bits of audio as these young people, college student age, it looks like they're in their friend's SUV looking vehicle, they're driving somewhere, and basically I just had to put it together because things are being said and the way the cinematography was. Ella Rubin, she is wait, I'm getting these names wrong. Why isn't it giving me the actual names of... Yeah, here we go. Clover. Ella Rubin plays Clover. Her sister, Melanie, is played by Maya Mitchell. You see her a few times in the film. And apparently she had gone missing when she had left. And again, you piece it together as you're watching the film. By the end of the film, you had the full story of... They had lost their parents. They're basically orphans at this point. It's a little bit of sadness as one of them's trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life. She doesn't want to just stay where they were living. She wants to go and find herself or whatever. I hate to say that like that, but that's the way it kind of comes off in the movie. I just don't like that expression much these days. Go find yourself. Go look in the mirror. Anyway, she leaves. Clover doesn't want her to leave. There's not really a fight or a parting on bad terms. It's just, I don't want you to go. And are you really going to stay here forever? I can't be anything here. That kind of thing. She just wants to go make new memories, I guess, in a place where she didn't live and have to watch her parents pass away. There's nothing really, thinking about it, unless I missed something in the movie, there's nothing really wrong about it or about her. She just left. But her sister didn't want her to go. And it just wasn't on the best of terms as they were leaving. She goes missing, and part of this trip that her friends are humoring her about, as far as, are they really going on some spring break-esque vacation together as friends or something like that, or is it mainly it's like some therapy session? Because you got this one friend played by Ji Young Yu, she plays Megan, and she's basically in the film, she's almost like a clairvoyant or something. She's got like psychic powers, or she feels things, senses things in the film, which is interesting. It plays well in the movie, but yeah. Oh my goodness, I forgot. I can't believe I forgot this. I got so lost in stinking Hill's evil doctor character in this movie that I'm just now remembering that, yeah, he was the store clerk. They have something that they have something that resembles kind of a prayer circle, as Megan is trying to get them to focus their minds and clear their minds as they had gotten out of the truck, stopping at this little little convenience store in the middle of nowhere. There's literally there's nothing around except the store. That kind of country, deep out on the roadside, in the woods. Emphasis on the woods, not some open area. It's very secluded, and it's already given you those Lost in the Woods vibes as they were driving down the road, starting to argue with each other about, oh, we're really doing this, we're really doing this. Is this about Clover's sister? And do you remember when we did this? And you get a little bit of that past and who's who. They're not obnoxious. That's the first thing that I want to note as they were driving along. You get immediately the feeling that, okay, these are at least halfway level-headed young people. And I need to say that because when I originally saw the trailer for this movie, when I was watching, what was I watching that I saw the trailer for this? Saw the trailer at Santikos in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Literally, I remember when I first saw the trailer for this movie, and how I was so interested in the way it looked with them running backwards, like they were in a movie being rewound or something. That is nowhere in this movie, which is a curious thing that they would put that in the trailer, because that's part of what sold it to me. It's like, okay, they're going back in time, they have to do something over again. Yeah, that's what this movie's about. But that actual effect, that scene of them that's in the trailer, of them running through the woods or running out of some chaotic situation backwards, it's not in the movie. What movie did I see that I saw the trailer for this? It had to have been a rated R or a horror film, because back to back, whatever I saw, it doesn't matter, because back to back, I just remember this, that stinking movie, Hell of a Summer, I think it's called. An obvious blood and guts, nothing burger of a bunch of young people, maybe teens, out in the woods and stuff happens. The characters look so dumb and obnoxious. I was like, this is weird that I have just been sold on watching this one horror movie about some people off on a trip and a haunted house situation. Why are they running backwards? And then back to back, this next trailer for Hell of a Summer. I was like, you couldn't pay me to watch this. It looks so dumb. I just remember that being a curious thing. It's like, from the trailer, and I'm sure that was a bad movie too. Haven't heard anything about it at all. It's like it came and went. This at least is earning its budget back as far as success at the box office. But anyways, let me get back to it. Megan's trying to get him to focus, and like she's actually trying to reach out to the great beyond or something, to maybe get some sign as to Melanie's whereabouts, because they think this is where she went missing. It is the general vicinity of where she had gone missing the previous year. And Clover goes in there and talks to, she doesn't realize it's the evil Dr. Hill. You realize that as the movie goes on. But for just a second, when he says, you know, your friends out there doing that, I kid you not, I thought for a second he was about to ask her, because of his tone of voice and everything. I thought he was about to ask, well, are you all performing a seance out there? What was that? I thought he was about to put her on the spot, as far as, you think I'm kind of a weird guy in here, talking about how I've worked here this year, and last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. He reeks of creepy guy out in the woods who gives you the directions to the place where you're going to get kidnapped. I kid you not. That's the kind of vibes that he gives off in this movie, which is good. It helps. It helped to make it. And again, I enjoyed the flick. And again, I want to emphasize these characters didn't come off to me as obnoxious, because now I want to hone in on one character in particular, Belmont Camilli. Is that, if I'm saying his name right? He plays Abel, and he seems like the newest friend in the group, I guess. He's dating, or kind of going with, Odessa Asian's character, Nina, who I thought I recognized from somewhere, but no, I don't. Not really. It's not anybody that I've ever seen before. She just looks familiar. And they have kind of a go at each other about, are we really dating or not? At a couple of points throughout the movie. It's nothing really to write home about. It's just funny stuff to me. Except for the one part where, you know what, maybe I can get to that if I'm going to go ahead and go through with talking about the movie from beginning to end the way I do, missing some things. I'm just going off what I remember from a couple of days ago. He tells her, Hill does, even though she doesn't know that's who it is, of a place where people just get into trouble, and basically Clover puts two and two together that this town, this area on down the road from just a few miles from where they had stopped there at this little mom and pop looking gas station. She thinks that's where her sister disappeared. She thinks that's where Melanie was and maybe still is. She's trying to find her sister. That's what her motivation is. And so she tells her friends, and they actually go for it. They go on down the road, and then they're driving through a storm, and they start arguing, bickering about, we've turned around so many times, we're getting lost here, we're just going to turn around again. If you're going to make me turn around again to get out of the storm, and are we going down the wrong road? Anyways, all of a sudden, I'm thinking they're about to have an accident, but the movie does something kind of interesting. No, it's not a flat tire, it's not a somebody run them off the road, a deer didn't come out of the road, nothing like that. The rain just stops. It just stops, and he slows down and is right inside of like the yard of this neat little kind of old style looking house. It's like a welcome center of a town. And so they go in there all curious about what is this? How is the rain just stopping? Literally, the rain stops. Like there is a torrential downpour at the edge of the driveway, right? Of this, in the yard of this small welcome center that looks like just looks like a house, kind of a big house. Not a mansion or anything, but just a nice house, two-story home that looks like it was converted into a welcome center. It's a very neat looking arrangement, and they're just in awe of it. It's like, what is this? And the guy's like, I think I know this phenomenon. Water wall, he says, when he remembers what it was. I remember what it is now. Water wall. And the other guy, that's what Abel says. And then Max, he's like, this sounds made up, man. You sure you didn't just make that up? And it's like, no, it's real. So, just to speed things up a little bit in this review, they go in the house, and keep in mind, there's nothing around, and this is what adds to the atmosphere and the spookiness, the eeriness of the film. Thinking about it now, I really want to nitpick. I enjoyed the film, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it, but being an aspiring filmmaker myself, or being one who aspires to make films, I haven't actually made anything yet, I think they could have gone kind of darker and more foreboding with the way things changed. Because literally, there's a scene in the movie, actually a scene or two, once they realize what's happening as far as this time loop that they're stuck in, because when they go inside and the place is deserted and it looks like a house that hasn't been altered in many years, and they put it together through newspaper clippings, which you realize later must have been left by Hill to kind of give them a clue as to what in the world's going on, because the evil Dr. Hill is watching them. And this is the kind of the unexplainable, you got to suspend your imagination stuff. He has them locked in this world somehow, where it's like he basically has supernatural abilities, in as much as he's got cameras that show the inside of the house and all this stuff, but when the world resets, it's like these cameras and the ways that he's monitoring them, it just remains. It's like that's the part of the movie that's just not explained, right? And you just got to go with it, because ultimately it is a story about these friends and how, in spite of these odd happenings and the horrific things that they're going through, they don't want to leave each other, as they realize the rules of these creepy things that are happening, and then these violent things that are happening because they're being killed and then they're coming back to life somehow, that they put it together the way the rules go, that if one person were to survive the night, then that person would be alive, that they would have beaten the curse. They would have beaten the game, as it were. And that, well, that they would be able to leave. The truck, however they got there, would be right outside for them to leave. But all the people who died during the night who didn't survive would be dead. That's the impression you're left with. That's basically what that's basically what it's about. And looking back on it now, again, I saw the movie 2 days ago, and I'm thinking there were some jump scares in this. Somehow they kept getting me 2, 3, maybe 4 times. A jump scare got me, but the kind of the deep sense of foreboding that I had, and again, I know I'm like a broken record here. I keep comparing any new thriller, or especially horror film, to the Smile movies, because for whatever reason, the Smile movies, especially the second one, got into me, and just I was filled with like a deep dread and fear as I watched the movie. Like on the edge, I was actually like on the edge of my seat. This movie didn't really deliver that, and I'm not going to call it a missed opportunity, because I just enjoyed the film too much to say that. But it is kind of a missed opportunity to me. Man, I just said it. Sorry. Not an altogether missed opportunity. I just think they could have done more as far as maybe some really tense music and exploring more about how you would react if, okay, you died and came back, and when it's reset again, there are things that are different. It's like the one guy says, let me get his name again. He says, it's Abel. He looks out the window. It's at nighttime, because it was at nighttime that actually it was Nina who started the process. There is a welcome book for visitors to sign in, register in the welcome center. Welcome book. You go up and you write your name, and that's what starts it. And after they all die and are killed by all these nightmarish happenings, and the psycho clown who's all big, he's like 6'3" or whatever, and he's got a pickaxe, because this was a mining town, and so he's going to kill you with a huge pickaxe, which is absolutely horrible. You are wherever you start over, exactly where you were when the book was signed. Nina obviously signed it, so there she is in front of the book. Abel was he was downstairs looking at this wall filled with missing persons photos that was really creepy and eerie. Clover was on the edge of the torrential downpour, the rainy weather that stops literally at the driveway, and she's looking out in the distance, and she thinks she sees Melanie, and she did. Except you don't realize yet that it's not really Melanie. And then Max, who you get the impression that he has a little bit of a crush, at least a little bit of a crush on Clover. He's just looking at her with this kind of concerned expression. It's like, what is she looking at, and why won't she just come inside with the rest of us? He goes out, and he's right about to like tap her on the shoulder, like, hey, are you okay? That's where he is each time the night resets after everybody's died. And oh yeah, Megan was looking at herself in the mirror and wiping the dust, maybe a little bit of grime, like whatever mildew builds up on a mirror over time, wiping it off so she could actually see herself in the mirror. So they each start that way each time they died and were killed. That's where each of them are. And there's a scene in the movie where after they've died, where Abel is looking out into the yard, and now there's a house. Now there's a house all of a sudden, a spooky looking ghost house looking place, where it had some obscenity written in white paint. What did that say again? It said something like, it F, the White Horse House, or some such thing. It was kind of disconcerting because I don't think they actually read it. And it was something obviously written on the door. Anyways, it might have been something from the video game, because there were a couple of times in the movie where I'm thinking to myself, oh, I see. They're really just trying to do some fan service here. And again, I haven't played the game, but it had to have been the case that a couple of these sequences, 2 or 3 of them, it's like, okay, they're trying to wink and nod at the people who played the game and loved the game and know what was in the game. They're trying to put that stuff into the movie so that it'll be in there and give you some good fan service, give you what you want, kind of a thing. Again, I haven't played the game, but 2 or 3 times when this happened were this. They're driving away. It was when Abel and Nina are driving away, and Nina's like, no, we can't leave him. We're dying. We can't just leave him. We've all got to be together. And he, for all of his selfishness and his self-absorbedness, there's a couple times in the movie where you actually want to kind of identify with Abel. It's like, you know what? You do have to get away. You do have to get some help. He wants to go to the authorities. Like, we're going to get some help. We're going to go tell them what's going on here. But you already know, and as you're watching the movie unfold, like, nah, man, it ain't going to go your way. You're not going to get away from there. There's a scene, and this is another thing that sold me on the movie that I liked from the trailer. They're driving away, maybe not even a quarter of a mile, as he's trying to zoom through the storm that he didn't want to drive back through anymore, but now that there's nightmares killing him, and then they're coming back to life somehow so that they got to die again, he's ready to go through the storm now. He's driving through the rain, and all of a sudden, she's like, what is that? There's some huge creature. It's only in one scene. And this bothered me. I'm like, hey, I was curious about what that was. Part of what the trailer sold me on was that scene of that. This thing looked like it was 30, 35 feet tall. Some huge monster that was just suddenly on the edge of the road and just kind of turning toward them with glowing eyes. And I was like, what in the world is that? He puts it into reverse and hightails it right back to where they were at the Welcome Center, right? And you never see that creature again. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, you know what? That's something from the game. I'm sure it is. I don't know, but I'm sure that's something from the game that was probably really cool and scary to run away from and try and figure out how to survive it. And they put that in the movie just to satisfy that one thing. But there I am, like, I want to see more of this thing. What was that thing? Because she's like, what is that? And you don't ever see it again. He reverses it, turns around, and goes right back. And then they die again because the psycho clown kills. He's like arguing about, listen, we could go inside. Because what happened, they had already died once at the hands of the psycho clown. Pretty gory stuff. And this was really one of the most tense scenes of the movie. When Megan, who, with her psychic whatnot, she went all black-eyed and shark-eyed. And she died. I guess it's Willem Vander. I'm thinking he plays VEGT. I don't know what this is. But I can't, I don't know what this character was unless he was the clown, the psycho clown, the horrible clown-faced tall monster that would kill him with a pickaxe the first night they were in there. And literally, like, couldn't do anything about it. They figure out how to beat him toward the end, basically teaming up on him with brute force. But the first time they're killed is basically the most tense scene. The second time, almost as much, because what happens is Megan, when she's all possessed and shark-eyed, she tells him, don't let it in. And then she like collapses. And this to me was like the easiest one of all, Don't let it in. There's this eerie scene of the door opening by itself, and Abel, he can't stand it anymore. He's like, he shuts it and he locks it. He's walking away calmly. It opens again. Things like that, and things like when they realize after they died and came back. Yeah, looking back on it now, I'm like, this movie should have been slowed down a little bit. It's only like an hour and a half long. It could have been longer, and it would have been better in this case to let things breathe a little more, and to just give me some screeching violin music. Give me whatever you got to give, but let's really draw the terror out of these reactions. It's like when he says, that house wasn't there before, it comes off as almost nothing. I remember it comes off as almost nothing. It's like, there's a house there that wasn't there before. And just the shock of having been killed in such a brutal way, and then coming back to life like from a bad dream. They could have, yeah, they should have too. They really should have. They should have milked that some more. They really should have. Because in the second night, when Megan said, "Don't let it in," I'm thinking to myself, all they have to do is don't go outside. Don't let it in, whatever it is. Granted, they still are new to what's going on to them, but it's like, it's the door. You're trying to barricade this door, right? But then what Hill does in however he's controlling this stuff, because somehow he's manipulating these nightmares that are attacking him. Again, that stuff's never explained, and it has the vibes of a lot of horror movies like that, where it's like you just gotta go with it. They hear Melanie, and Clover can't stand it. It's Melanie all of a sudden outside, begging for help, like, help me, please, they're gonna get me, help me. She can't stand it anymore. She has to open the door, and then they open the door and there's a scuffle. There's nobody out there. There's nobody out there. And it's things like this, where it's like, okay, you can see what's happening as some invisible force sucks Clover onto the ground and drags her into the house. And then when there's this argument, and this is when some really surprising stuff happens, and it's like, it's entertaining, but at the same time, it's like the believability isn't always there as far as their reactions. It's better than in most movies to me, don't get me wrong, but what I'm talking about is that fight between Abel and Nina. Is more just an argument, and Max saying, listen, we've got to survive the night, because they understand that much so far. And I'm getting something wrong here. It's like when Abel, he crosses a line. He says to Max, what do you think, this is going to make her get back with you or something like that? I'm trying to think, who was he talking about? Was he talking about Nina, or is it that Max had gone with Clover? I can't remember how that scene went exactly, but I just remember Max saying, you know what, if you two do make it out, I want you to go F yourselves, or something like that. He said that. I'm just trying to remember the context in which it was said, because then Nina's had enough. Max goes outside. He thinks he's going to be able to help Clover. Of course, you know he can't. I think he ends up getting sucked, invisible ghost possession style, into the spooky house. And then there's Nina and Abel still kind of arguing with each other about, oh yeah, and this is what happens when he goes outside. He's like, he's going to get in his car. He makes her get inside, and then they see that creature along the road that makes them turn back, and then they get killed again. But this was a different one. I'm getting the nights mixed up. I was about to say when Nina used the pickaxe to kill Abel. I'm thinking, did you really just do that, you psychotic woman? I know the guy is like playing the role of a coward, sort of. He wants to live. He makes like he is willing to throw other people on the bus, but he never actually does that I could recall in the movie. He just wants to get out of there. And when the clown demon, whatever, comes in, and they actually have a moment, Nina and Abel, where it's like they're back to an understanding, sort of. It was just a mess. It was entertaining as all get out, but I'm just thinking to myself, you just impaled him with a pickaxe, and now he's gonna die because of what you did. Because by now we've reached the point in the movie where it's like they know they're gonna come back again. And yeah, the psycho clown comes in, because it's like the psycho clown always eventually comes in. And she actually says, him first, like him first, and Abel looks at her like, what in the world, man? And then he kills him, and then he kills her, like almost off screen. But it's like this is just getting silly now. This is just too crazy. It's just too crazy. And the night when Clover went into the house, you got this old lady, this crazy old crone woman, who forces her to breathe in her oxygen machine, and she goes all black, shark-eyed, and like possessed, and she says, suffer like all the people of this town. And then all of a sudden she puts on some, it had to, okay, I give him this, the creepiness of the mannequins, and not even full-bodied mannequins, just like the upper torso and the head, that was kind of creepy. Again, there was plenty of creepy stuff in this movie, but I just think that a couple of the reactions is like, and when things would change that first night, if they could have used music in particular to really put you into a mind of like, what in the world is going on, because they did a decent job to me in this movie of making you kind of care about these characters, because of this one thing they keep falling back on, that they care about each other. They're not going to leave one another, as much as Abel seems like he would be willing to, because he's such a joker. But especially Max, Clover, Megan, Nina, they're gonna die, and so they can come back, so that they can all survive the night together. That is kind of like the heart of this movie, and it's why I believe it goes well with the way the film ends, because they stick by that in spite of some horrible things that happen. And I kid you not, I have never seen a movie where this happened. It almost makes me wish this movie, I mean, I do wish the film, I hope it does well as far as making money, but I have never seen a movie that does this. I thought for sure, because things change each night, they die, and it's a new challenge each night. And even Abel says something along the line of, or maybe it was someone else who said, well, think about it. If things were exactly the same each night, it would just be too easy to beat this. He didn't even know what to say it, or she didn't know what to say it. Whatever it was that they were caught up in, it would be too easy to survive if it didn't change somehow each night. And it makes perfect sense as the movie's talking to you. I did not see this coming. Well, I did, but I didn't. When they locked themselves in the bathroom downstairs, basement or whatever it is, and when there was no running water the first night, but now there is, the second that Abel is enjoying, wetting his tongue a little bit there and just drinking a little bit of water just because it's so thirsty, I thought for sure that, who was it? Was it Max? Or was it Megan who said there was no running water before? I thought for sure they would put it together that's gonna kill you. If you drink that water, this new change, because there was no running water the first night. I thought, I knew it. I knew that was gonna happen. I just had no idea how. I thought, oh no, they're gonna maybe be coughing up blood. They're about to die because they've got this water in them. No, they explode. There are exploding people. That's how they die in this movie. I did not see that coming, and it added a level of outlandishness and it went to a ridiculous level all of a sudden. And unfortunately, like in Megan's case, when she's running out, she didn't even blow up. Only her leg blew up, and then you got to watch her crawling in pain and stuff, and it's like, and the nightmares compound because didn't the psycho clown, when it was just Clover and Max were the only ones who hadn't blown up yet, because they all drank the water, they all drank it. That was insane. That was crazy. I'm sure it was in the game, or maybe it wasn't. I don't know, because I haven't played the game. But that was just nuts. I did not see. I wasn't expecting them to be blowing up in this movie. Exploding people was not something I saw coming. I just knew for sure they were going to die because it was a change. There was no running water in the house on the first night or before, but now there is. Yeah, it's going to kill them, and it did. And from then on, that is like a new rule they have to adapt to. Stay away from the water, because even if you get it on you, it might be dangerous. But if you ingest it, and I'm thinking, it must be something related to the story of the town, because is there something about the I don't know, nitroglycerin, whatever, I can't explain it. It was a mining town, and it had a sad history of how this terrible industrial accident, or was it an earthquake? I can't recall. The whole town was basically sucked into the earth, and that's why Max was downstairs in one of the kind of creepy exploratory moments where it's like they're all by themselves in a room and they're learning about the house, and you're like, oh no, they're all by themselves in a room, so you know something bad's about to happen. No, it didn't happen. He was just looking through the windows and wondering, why are there windows down here underground? It's because the whole house used to be higher than it is now. That kind of thing was good in the movie. I just wish, again, thinking about it now, I enjoyed it, but they could have added just a few more minutes to make things more tense, and really use some music to some really foreboding music to scare you more. Because even though I jumped a few times with the jump scares, especially as they're running around in the tunnel with the goblin creature looking freak chasing them around, the people who had maybe been given over completely to their fears and anxiety, because that's one of the things they learn in the film from a recording, a tape that they discover in the house down in the basement that Hill had recorded. He watches these people over the course of a couple of weeks. Nobody has ever had more entries in the book than 13, they realize, is that slowly over the days people become their innermost monsters. Their anxieties, their fear, their loathing, their paranoia and desperation takes them over completely, and it just tears the mind apart, and they physically become monsters, like with the spine coming out of the back, and they become these goblin looking creatures, and it's just absolutely horrid looking. It looked good. Don't get me wrong, as effects go, I liked it. And it again makes me wish this film were doing better. But it's doing okay, I guess, as things go. I'm glad I watched it, because I'm in this mode in my life now where I want to give these movies a chance. If I think there's a chance, basically, that it'll be worthwhile, I'm going for it and going to see a movie. And it's worked out very, very well so far. There are other things that I'm like, I'm not watching that junk, and so I don't. But the things that I am willing to give a try to, I almost always enjoy it now. And yeah, so there's a recording they're watching of Hill explaining this, and then there's a scene where Abel gets up. He's like, guys, there's something on my back. It feels like there's something back there. And he like lifts his shirt a little bit, and he is growing the spines out of his back. They're starting to come through the skin. It's like so gnarly, and he's like, I think I can feel something back there. But they're all like, oh no, you're fine, and you're looking good, man. Nothing to miss. You're okay. Really? I think I can feel something back there. It's like, what in the world are they gonna do, you know? But then Abel actually has some observations of his own. He's thinking, why can't we remember hardly anything? And then he says, oh wait, I think I recorded something. And sure enough, on his phone are all these videos. Somehow his phone, the same way as, you know what, I guess that is at least even-handed in the story. Hill has his cameras going that somehow continue on no matter what happens. And so Abel's got his phone there, and there's like a few dozen videos. And this is the other thing I mentioned as far as the movie managed to get stuff into the game. I'm sure, again, I haven't played the game, but I'm sure this stuff was in the game when they were trying to cram it in there to satisfy different things that I'm sure happened in the game. And so there's this whole collage. They're watching a little, just different videos, and they're watching themselves die. Abel was able to record it before they all get killed, but it's still on his phone. The thing from the trailer of that horrible looking disease worm or whatever it was taking over Clover's face, and things like that, and killing a zombie, and apparently either Max or Abel just hitting something in the head over again, like, why won't you die? It's like them fighting for their lives. And one time when Hill is actually in the house, and Megan's like, I'm gonna follow him to see what I can find out. And I'm thinking to myself, she puts the camera down and then follows him out of the room. It's like, wouldn't you take it with you? I was like, did they just make an error in the editing of this movie or in the storytelling? I don't know. But it's like, it was a good scene of the movie, and it added to the atmosphere and to what's going on. And it actually did educate them a little more as far as what they're up against and who Hill is and how to beat it. But the time when was Hill in the house, the time he killed Clover, or was it him who killed her? And he basically said that it's not possible to just be still in the house and try to lock yourself into a room. And he also tells her, somebody always dies. Always. Oh, you can beat it. You can beat the curse. You can beat the Welcome Center entry book curse. But somebody always dies. Anyways, the heart of the movie basically is Clover, because she finally accepts that her sister is really gone, and that this is where her story ended. And when I say closure, I mean closure, because you see her after she says, instead of running away, let's run towards something, and they all band together, and they are in the final night when they realize nobody's made it. The names in the book, there's never more than 13 entries. It's like 13 shots and you are dead. You never come back. You're just gone. That's all she wrote. And so they arm up with some of the very same implements they've been killing with. The one guy's, he's got a pickaxe, or like they got the flashlights, and so they're going to do something they haven't done before. They're going to go into the tunnel down in the basement and literally go toward whatever is been emerging from the darkness, basically, to attack them. And it's basically Clover leading them, and they're like, you know what, you're right, and the only chance is for us to get out of this together and be as one, and let's work together. And they get split up though at one point, and I think it was, what happened? I can't even remember. Oh yeah, it was Megan. Megan had been snatched out of a room off camera. It's like, they're like, hey, where did Megan go? And then you realize she is in the very place that Hill had made one of his awful tape recordings of. She's in a seat strapped down in like a psycho room, and one of the goblin creatures things is just out of length. He's chained up, but he just is almost on her where he's trying to kill her, but he's trying to break it out of the wall, and she's screaming to Clover, help me out, and Clover has to go get the key to the door because there's no way she can get in there otherwise. And that's when she has the confrontation with Hill, literally talking to him. And when he shows up, I'm thinking to myself, this is just too much. And he is just too much. Peter Stormare as this character is like, he walks from movie to movie as the same, in a horror movie, the same kind of guy. And so here he is again. Here's the nightmare you have to deal with again. And he basically explains to her this whole thing is about her and her problem. He has her psychological evaluation, whatnot, these actual files from when she had to see therapists and stuff, from when she was going to kill herself, and how he's been all up in her mind and studying her, and how each of these nightmares is like a manifestation of her own anxieties and her own inner demons and stuff. And it's something that maybe you've seen off before, but the way it's done, it was satisfying to me. And so was this. He's strolling around doing his monologuing thing, and in keeping with the rest of the house, there's water leaking. And you're thinking, well, surely he wouldn't let it leak into his office, but there's some water leaking, and he's got his cup of coffee right next to it. I kid you not. I can't believe this. I'm like, she's going to go for it. As soon as he turns his back fully, finally, she puts that cup of coffee over where the droplet of water is coming out, and gets a few droplets in there, moves it back, and then she's just kind of playing him for a few minutes, like just talking to him about this stuff, and like, you know, you said someone always dies, except this time it's you. And when he realizes as he's drinking that coffee what she did, and he attacks her and stuff, I can't believe it, man. It was just too good. It's like, this is nuts. This is nuts. He explodes. Hill explodes. She gets the key. She gets Megan out of there. They have right at the second that the goblin monster breaks free of the wall, and then they gotta use both their strength to shut the door, lock it, and then it's all just chase against time, because the hourglass, I forgot to mention the hourglass and the little skull thing. That's another thing that I wish they had done earlier in the movie. I wish they had really, like, all together, like, looked at that hourglass and that skull. Was like, what in the world is this? Because they do have a neat little moment where someone says, I think it was Nina, who did that? Did any of you touch that? I didn't touch that. Because all of a sudden the sand is leaving the top chamber of the hourglass and going into the bottom, falling into the bottom. And that is a neat poster, isn't it? That hourglass and all the skulls and bones dripping into the bottom. It's a pretty neat little thing, I think, thinking about it now. But it's like, you didn't realize until they never really made a good scene, I think, of what started it. It was Nina writing the name in the book. That's what gets it started. Anyway, that's just a side tangent. The things I like about the ending of the film were, again, these were the creepy moments. It's like, this is the stuff that has you on the edge of your seat as much as it's when they're running around in the dark. And when they, the good scene of Abel and Max and Nina overwhelming the clown monster, knocking him down finally, and using whatever that was. They used something to crush his head, and they're all like high-fiving each other. And it was actually a good scene. It was a good scene, like some victory, you know. But then they had to keep running because something else was on them. When Clover rescued Megan, a lot of stuff happens at the end of this movie. I'm getting it out of sequence now, but this is what I meant by closure for Clover, and how resolute she finally was in the end in overcoming her demons. She fights her fully gone, fully converted monster sister. She fights Melanie. She realizes that it's Melanie that she's fighting at this point. And she gets her into a position where she falls on this spike fighting her and knocks her back so that she dies on this spike that Clover had almost landed on herself when she fell to the... It's like they're in some mine shaft down in, again, that used to be a mining town. And one of the on the edge of your seats moments was when they're running around in the dark and there's a goblin, and it's a pretty good scene. And whoever that actor was, who was that monster, that fully converged monster thing, the movements and the way that actor moved whenever the light was on him, and you see stuff like off in the corner, it was good stuff. And Clover was there, and it's like right next to her. That was a good scene in the dark and everything. That was at least a tense scene. But yeah, as they finally all get reunited, they got Megan. They're running out of the shaft. They're running for their lives. They're running to ground, going up a ladder. They're being chased by, I don't know what to call these entities that are fully, yeah, I guess they are what they would have become. These monsters, goblin, whatever they called them. Maybe if I look at a synopsis of, you know what, it'll take too much time to figure out what that is. But yeah, that they're being chased by a few of these creatures who basically, that's what they would have degenerated into, like actual monsters. They get to ground right as the last of the sand is falling through the glass, and then it's a neat thing as they're climbing out of the ground, and it's dawn, and they made it, and there's a cross, right? They saw this cross when they first got to the place, and everything's normal looking, and the house is just as it should be. There's nothing altered about the town or anything. There's nothing there, because it was just the house, the welcome center of the town when they got there, and that's all that's there in the end. And just like looking around at each other, and how neat it was that that they made it. And there's a few good lines of dialogue as Abel's like, hey, you want to wait around for the whatever to what? He's already in his truck as the rain has stopped, and it's so majestic the way it stops, right? Because the sky had looked so eerie when they got there. It was a good effect of the storm clouds that stopped just short of where they are. It was good. This was a neat film. It really was. I just wish they had maybe added just a few more minutes to make things more eerie at the beginning, in their reactions to the way things changed and stuff. But it's like they did so much in the film with the learning of the rules of, okay, you are caught in a time loop, and yes, you really did just die, and you came right back, and what that would do to you, and they maybe it's just too much, I guess, to try and satisfy all the stuff that I'm sure is in the video game if I played it. Again, I haven't played it, but I'm sure they were trying to be faithful to the game, but also try and make a good movie. And to me, I think they did make a good movie. They defeated the evil Dr. Hill. Clover understands what happened to her sister, and again, third time's the charm. I'm actually going to get this out now. When I started to say she had closure with her sister, she literally says, "I love you, Melanie, but I'm going to get the F out of this nightmare, out of this town." I think she cussed. I won't cuss. And that's when she looked down at Melanie, and Melanie, it's not really Melanie anymore. It's what's left of the monstrous, converged, no coming back from it monster that she had become, dead, that Clover was talking to. "I love you, but I'm going to survive this nightmare." And she did. And they all survived together. And that's the way, that's how neat this movie ends. Granted, there's a little scene of it's a different house, a different location. This time it's in a snowy area. And there's cameras and somebody's watching. And is it another Hill? Does he have his, does Dr. Hill have versions of himself like you've seen in some recent flicks? Oh, well, I had my consciousness stored over here and this other cybernetic whatever. And that's how the movie ends. It's like, okay, some other unfortunate souls are about to have to go through the same thing these kids did. Anyways, I enjoyed the flick, and I think I forgot to mention this part about it was one of the there's the baddest things that the characters did to fight back. It was Max. They were running from they were running away through the woods. Megan had fallen through the glass because the psycho clown was after her. Max tried to help her. He couldn't because it all drug her down when he tried to reach out for her. He kept running. It was when Clover had been running out into the woods to try and find Melanie. Yeah. And she gets caught in a bear trap. I kid you not. And she gets drug into this thing, and she's literally drug into a shadow of a tree trunk or whatever. And you see her screaming bloody murder, and he's like, okay, she's basically just been pulverized by something. That's the end of her for this night. But no, you see her crawling again, and you're like, what happened? What happened there? He comes upon her, trying to help her. He tries to undo the bear trap, and it's too much for him. And this is what doesn't make sense, even though it's the baddest thing you see, the smartest thing, oh wow, that was a good move kind of a thing. Because first, he can't do it, and the full force of the bear trap comes back on Clover's foot, and you're thinking she would scream, but she doesn't react quite the way you think she would. It's like, it's like, oh, sorry. He's trying to get it off, but it clamped right back. Then all of a sudden there's Melanie, Goblin Melanie, running him down, and just like that, it's like, what was this, man? Max, a surge of adrenaline or something? He takes the thing off of Clover's foot. She hops up. He's like, run. Melanie's right on him. He tosses the bear trap, and it goes onto Melanie's face. I'm like, whoa, that's a pretty good move there, fella. And then so he runs away, and they have a moment where it's like, I think this guy just had feelings for her or something. I really do. or just he was just a really good guy. I don't know. It's like there was something more than whatever. It doesn't matter. Go watch the movie. You'll understand. He ends up killing her. He kills Clover, slices her jugular and bleeding out after she's like she wants him to. It's like, we have to start over. We can't leave him. And he's like, yeah, I know you're right. I know you're right. And then there's the psycho clown who had managed to, was it the psycho clown or was it somebody else? Was it some other monster? One of the goblin creatures, whatever. It's one of the silliest things, the way this happens, because it's like they go from having this neat little moment between him and Clover. It's like when they realize that they're the only ones left again, and it's night 5 or 6 or whatever. And I want to say the acting was good in this, for what it was, for the story that's being told, because it's like he has this shard of glass, and you're thinking, what is he going to kill himself with the shard of glass? He's had to watch her die in front of him, and they had their little moment, and now the creature's over there, can't see him yet, he's still hiding. There's some water leaking out of a pipe right next to him, right? Literally. Max downs a little bit of the water, and he like walks boldly toward the creature, whatever the nightmare entity is. And of course he has to get out a good F you, and then he explodes. Max explodes. He drank the water so it would explode, like that's gonna insult the creature somehow or whatever. It was just them having a little bit of fun in the making of this movie, I guess. It's like, I'll tell you. Anyways, I think I've hit all of the high points of the movie that I remember that I enjoyed. It was a neat little horror flick, and I say that as somebody who I only enjoy the suspense and the cheap thrills of some of these movies because I'm a firmly grounded individual. I don't actually recommend horror to people, but as far as just some cheap fun, and I'll tell you this, Mr. H Reviews, hopefully you know who he is, he made an interesting point. I've never heard this said, but as he said it, I could almost predict what he was about to say because of his train of logic. He was just flowing. I'm like, you know what, I know exactly what he's about to say, and he's so right. It makes sense. He said, in like economic down times like we're living through here in the middle of 2025, when money's tight and inflation, all the rest of it, horror movies like in the 1970s and other areas, they have like a resurgence. You end up seeing quite a few horror movies because horror movies can be done very, very cheaply, and they do have the potential, if they're really good, to do gangbusters. You spend a little bit of money and you make a lot of money. It's possible to do it. I wish this film could be one of those films that really does that, to have like a big success, because the way the ending, again, it has a horror ending as far as, okay, somebody else is about to undergo this nightmare, but the people who you got a little bit attached to in the film, they didn't die. They didn't leave each other. And that was basically like the moral of the story, such as it is. Could have been a little bit more tense, could have been more scary to people like me, who I need something that basically it's got to fatigue my brain a little bit. And that, as I think about it, I think that's what the Smile movies did, because in those movies you're dealing with something that is in the mind. That demon parasite entity thing, the Smile curse. It wasn't anything like in this movie where it's involving other people with you. It's like you're all alone. That's just scratching the surface of how that movie really got me going. Smile 2 in particular. Smile 1 very much, but I saw those movies out of order. I saw Smile 2 and then Smile 1, if that makes any sense. I know it doesn't make any sense, but somehow it made it even more. Had a couple bad dreams, I'll just say that. That's how good the horror movies they were. Anyway, but to end on this review, I know I've been talking forever about Until Dawn. from PlayStation Studios. I really got a kick out of this film. I'm glad I gave it a chance. And I liked it that the characters, nobody died. They made it out. It was their last shot. But I like those movies where even if it takes until the last, when they finally realize what they got to do to go for it. Do what you got to do for each other to make it through. And these characters did. It was a neat little story. And that's basically what I can end on, what the evil Dr. Hill said. Remember. How did he say it? I'm trying to remember the exact words. You can't live by being still, Miss Clover. Think about it. Okay, that's enough of this. I appreciate it, folks. Thank you so much if you've listened to me all the way to the end. Take care, and we'll see you in the next movie review.